Welcome to week 4 of our stretching program. So we've made it to the final week. So in order to be completing this, just a couple of checks. You should have completed weeks 1, 2, and 3, where you're looking to repeat each of those sessions every day. And you should have been reassessing yourselves at the start of the program and at the end of every week. So hopefully you're seeing those improvements. It's been great to be hearing from all the people we know of how those test scores, at first they may have been quite surprising, but now it's great to see them improving. So keep letting me know. We really appreciate the feedback. If you are just joining us now and have found us at week 4, in this week, these are going to be probably the most advanced stretches. So we really would recommend starting from the beginning at week 1 and registering at the link that you'll see in order to be sent the first up information around how to assess your own flexibility and why we're doing what we're doing, and then to begin the program in the correct order. But what we'll look to do is get going with our warm-up now, ready to take on week 4. So we'll start off with just our dynamic stretching. So all we're doing is just slowly lifting that leg forward as we go through. Remember, it doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be quick. We actually want this to be quite slow, but all we're looking to do is really start to prepare the muscles, warm the muscles, get a blood supply to the area, ready to get going on what we're about to do, and what we're about to work. Good. And then we'll just do some heel flicks, just dynamically stretching out those quads. We really want to warm up today. As I say, it is week 4. It is the last week of this program. So these are going to be the toughest stretches. I do want to be testing you today to really get the best and the most advanced sort of flexibility workout that we can get for you. Good. Next one, we're just going to look to open up those groins. Good. Just working that through, getting those nice and loose. Opening up those hips, which have a tendency of becoming particularly tight, particularly if we're sitting around a lot. Those hip muscles can be tight, so we really want to be opening up these hips and getting them ready. And then we'll go in the other direction. So just bringing across, just working the glutes. You notice I just try and stay on my toes in between the rotations, trying to get a bit of a bit out of breath, a bit of a slight sweat on, really getting the body nice and warm. Getting the best effects. A couple more through. Good. Then we'll go into our hip flexors. So we're just hip extending. And you should just feel a pull through the front of those hips as you bring that leg back nice and straight. One more on each leg. And then we're just into our calves. So just working through these kind of squats. Remember, the important point about this is that we're keeping those heels nice and flat on the floor. Three more, 2 more, last one. Good stuff. Shake out those legs and we'll get going straight into our stretches. So the first one, not to do this one, we're going to start with our hamstring today. And all we're going to do, start with our feet shoulder width apart. We want to keep those legs nice and straight throughout the stretch, not allowing the knees to bend. That will take the hamstring off of stretch. And all we're going to do is slide down our legs. And we're looking to see where we can get to. Can we go beyond the shins? Can we hit the midfoot? Can we hit our toes? The floor with our fingers? Or can we even look to be getting our palms flat on the floor? Wherever you can get to is absolutely fine. Remember, what we don't want to be doing is overstretching, which will create a bounce that we can't sustain. Just get to the point that you can and hold. And whenever you get there, leave it there for 10 or 15 seconds and you maybe have to go a little bit further. That's 20 seconds in. And go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just slowly bring those hands back up at those legs. All I want you to do now is lean into a wall. We're going to go into our calf. Now, we did this stretch back in week 1 where we're just looking to keep all the toes in a nice straight line as we then bend forwards. But what I want to do now is a deeper investigation into that calf complex. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to take the foot at the leg we're stretching, the heel outwards. And what you should feel is that that stretch is still in that calf muscle, but just in a slightly different area of the calf. Calf muscle that has 2 aspects to it, 2 parts. By changing this back of the heel position, what we're doing is we're just isolating each of those parts as we stretch out. So we'll just hold this one for 5 more seconds. And then we're just going to bring the heel in. So again, my toes at the front are straight, but my heel in at the back. And what you'll be finding is that one of these two stretches are a little bit tighter, and that will give you an indication of the aspect of the calf that is tighter. So if when it was in, you are feeling tighter than you are when the heel is out, then that's an indicator. So when the heel is turned out, then you'll be really feeling that through the inside. And then when they're in, you'll be feeling that through the outside. And that's the bits to really be targeting with that myofascial work that we can do. And then 3, 2, 1, and we'll just slowly come out and we'll just change that around. So into that normal calf stretch, and then what we do is we just slide those heels out. That's it. So when that heel goes out, you should feel that slightly more on the inside of your calf, in that calf area, but more to the inside. And just be having a think about how that feels, how tight that feels. Good. We're just going to push through. Another 10 seconds. And then just come out and we'll spin the heel in and just push through. And again, just comparing where you feel that. Does this one feel tighter? Just have a real think about those areas. Hold that one all the way through. And just come out of that stretch, and we're going to do exactly the same. You remember in week 1 we did this with the soleus muscle, the sort of deeper muscle, the lower muscle in that calf complex. We did both legs bent. So we're going to do the same thing, and then just turn that heel in first of all to just work that. And what we're starting to work here is some of the muscles in that deep calf complex. So we have some other muscles that we term tibialis posterior, the perineal muscles, that we're trying to get at that whole complex now. 7 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and just come out, and then we'll just turn the heel in. Just working through. And going to slowly come out of this stretch in 3, 2, 1. Then it's a change onto the other side. So again, just dropping into that bent leg, turning that heel outwards. First of all. So it's really about that back leg. That's the one we're stretching. So we want that heel to be turned. And then slowly come out of it and turn that heel in. Good. And just this one, you should start to feel on that inside. For the runners of you out there, this is working into that tibialis posterior, very common muscle. Get tight in runners, good stretch for runners to be doing. But now we're at week 4, we're being really specific into the particular muscle groups. Just hold that one there. We're going to do 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just slowly out of that stretch. This next one, again, we're going to work into the hip flexors, slightly more advanced stretch. So similar to some of the ones that we've been doing for the quad, but we're going to go into this position here. What I want you to do is now look to be really taking that leg back into hip extension and to extend the stretch even further with the other hand. Just reach back to take your chest. And it can work actually to hold something above your head like a door frame, but we're trying to take the knee back and the chest back to get a real big stretch through the front of the hip up to the stomach, and probably be feeling that slightly down into the quad as well. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just change that over. Again, there's nothing wrong with using support around you to help you get into these positions. I did say that this was going to be difficult. You'll be feeling that already with some of these more advanced stretches. So we just take that knee back, other hand comes up to take the chest back, and we're really looking to try and take both things back now. The knee and the chest. Could use something overhead if you want, and just hold in there. Really looking to open up those hips. Yeah, 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just relax out of that position. We're going to drop down to the floor now, and we're going to go into a glute stretch. This glute stretch, what you want to do, start almost like you're in that hip flexor stretch that we've done previously. So one knee's onto the floor. But what I want you to do is actually drop that leg in front of you and bring the hands just over the top. So you end up in this position here. And then you can just lean forwards. Let that leg drop to the floor and lean into that stretch and just drive the other back. And what you should be feeling in this bent leg is it pulling in the back of that hip there. I did say this week was going to have some advantages. And so you'll be feeling that one here, just getting into this position. Now, the further forward you go, the bigger the stretch you're going to be getting. And the further back you take the other leg, the non-stretching leg, again, the bigger the stretch that you'll feel through there. Good. So we're going to hold this for another 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and just slowly come up and out of that stretch. And we'll turn it around. So what we do is we get into that position here, one knee on the floor, and then I simply just look to drive that knee down towards the floor. My hands come over to support me. I take the other leg back into straight. As soon as I do that, I start to feel that hip area, those glutes work, and then I just lean into that stretch and find a good stretch for me at my flexibility level. And I just look to hold that there. I did warn you the stretches would be advanced. I know you'll be feeling that now, but it's great that we've been working through and getting to this position. And through another 7 seconds or so. 4. And then we're just slowly going to come out of that. Now, this is where I might really lose you as we go into the thigh stretch. Remember, if these are difficult, by all means, go into some of the other stretches that you now know from the previous weeks. But with this one, what we're going to do is just be on our knees. And all we're going to look to do is reach back towards our heels. We can hold on to our heels if we want. And then we're just going to bring our body back down as far as we can go towards the floor. And what you'll be feeling is a pull through those quads. Now, it doesn't matter where it kicks in. It may kick in here, here, wherever you can get to. But you just feel that pulling all the way through. Good. Hold on there for another 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and just slowly come out. Now, as I said, that was a difficult stretch. If you're looking at me thinking that's not possible for me, that's fine. Some of the more simpler ones that we have been doing, but it's great to be working towards these things. So, our last stretch. So this is one of our favourite ones to just do, particularly at the end of a session or the end of a workout or the end of a run, is just simply to lie up against a wall, place my leg up onto the wall, and all you look to do, so I'll shuffle a little bit this way, is just take the legs down into what I call a V stretch. And what you should now be doing is a stretch right the way through those groins. And you can drop the legs to whichever position you require till you feel that stretch. But it's a really nice one just to lay back, take the stretch to the position that your groins allow, and just to feel that stretching all the way through. As I say, one of my favourites to just be finishing off a session and relaxing. We're also supporting the drainage of any lactic acid, so a really good thing to do to be finishing off. Five more seconds. And then we'll just bring our legs slowly back up to middle and then drop them back down. Okay, what I wanted to finish off with you guys today was just a kind of hip mobility challenge, really, just to see where you're at. And I call this the sort of 90-90 mobility exercise. Now, let me explain that a little bit more. What I look to do is I just look to bring both my legs into a sort of, to create two 90-degree positions. So I've got a 90 degrees here and a 90 degrees here. My foot is in line with the knee, running right the way through. And all that we want to do is just simply change positions to end up in the other side. Now, if you can do that without your hands, great. But by all means, you can do that supported as well to help you as you go through. But the real good way to move towards is to be able to do it without having any need for support, because we're using those hip muscles and we have the hip mobility available to us in order to allow us to just be taking that one through. So again, particularly if you're warm, this is a nice one to use in a warm-up to make sure that we're warm and we're mobilized, but a great way of just testing out you're at now with your stability. And so you can just move through a few of those. Okay. And then that's it, guys. That's the 4 weeks. So what we've looked to hopefully now leave you in a position where for all of those vital lower limb muscles, you have four stretches that you can add to your repertoire to build a program. And what I would advise for you is don't stop now. Speaking to you and the commitment that you guys have made to this program has been fantastic, but we know that this is something that we want to carry on. So many of you said to me that it's been years without doing these things and you're surprised by how, a lack of flexibility that you've had and how much tightness you've had, but it's great seeing that improving. So I urge you to carry on. What you might want to now be doing, now you've experienced 4 stretches for each of the muscle groups, is pick out the one that you like. One for each muscle group and create a routine. Remember that all the static stretches should be held for 30 seconds. So you're looking at a muscle group and really look to build out then a 6 or 7 minute stretching routine that you can carry on every day. You have the stretches, assuming that you registered. If you haven't registered, it's free to register at the link and we'll send you the means of assessing your own flexibility, but carry that on. This aspect of keeping your mobility is so important, fighting away the pain and the typical injuries that we see here in clinic. So thank you for your commitment to the program. I'd love to hear all of your feedback, love to hear how the scores are going on. And with any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But make sure you keep up the stretching. You've made a fantastic start. Remember, if we can keep things going, we form a habit in our lives. And if you can bring this habit into your life, I guarantee it's going to be reducing your long-term pain.